also wanted to talk a little bit about the toe walking. Got a lot of questions about this. And so I'm gonna try to give you a basic explanation, and then I'm also going to give you a little bit more of a technical explanation. So when kids toe walk, what it means is it doesn't always look like this. It means that they're hitting on their forefoot first. So they are not getting what we call heel strike to forward. So a lot of times you'll hear people say like, oh, my kid grew out of it. That might happen, but it is very, very rare. Usually what happens is as their weight increases, you don't see them up like this, it's pushing their heels down. So even though they're still hitting, see, look, they're hitting like this as opposed to like this. And so it's just a little bit of an illusion, and they're still getting that hit on the forefoot or the ball of their foot as opposed to the heel. Typical gait or walking is heel to toe with a push off. And what's happening with toe walking, and I'm going to do the more exaggerated just so that you can see, is that so when we do heel, our foot drops, our leg comes forward, so we're stretching out our calf and we're using the control from our calf muscle so that we don't collapse. And then we push off, so our calf muscle is getting energy. Now, with people who toe walk, look at the difference. They're always in that state of push off. I've got a little helper demonstrating here. So they're never getting that leg coming over the foot and working on that control. So what happens is, and early on you might not see any tightness or anything like that, especially for newer walkers that have started. That's why we say like 50% or more of the time. But what can happen is if it's not addressed, and this can also happen with kids that have it purely from a sensory standpoint. In the beginning, it might be a sensory thing that they are walking on their toes, but the more that they do it, they're going to get the musculoskeletal changes to their foot and to their calf muscle. So then it becomes orthopedic. Other kids start with it as a more orthopedic, like they might have some tightness, or yes, we'll read the book later. Yeah, you read it to mama. So there's a lot of reasons that it can happen, but what we want to do is we want to make sure that we treat it early so that we can stop there from being longer term problems and avoid bracing if we treat it earlier. So now let's not do this. Think about walking on your toes versus walking, here, you sit right here.
No.
Okay, well then you can't touch the camera. Walking regular. So a lot of times kids that are on their toes have weak core and hip muscles, as well as their calf muscles don't know how to work. We're not touching this baby. Okay, I'm gonna hold you then. Their calf muscles aren't working the way we want them to because they're only working in a short range. So say, because when we come forward, the calf works in this range. Sorry. We're almost done. Here's your phone. Yeah. So it works in this much of a range. When they're on their toes, they're only getting this much to work. And so when we look at kids' range of motion, we want to not see how far we can push it if we give all of our force, because that's not the range that they are using. We want to look at like, where's that first sign of resistance? That means that they are starting to get tighter in their calves because that first tightness is going to tell you what is their functional range. So we want to work to increase that. Hi. And that involves getting the calf to learn how to work against gravity, so that control feature. And so that's why we talk about putting shoes in first, because sometimes that elevated heel brings the ground up to the heel just enough so that we start to get the calf to relearn or to learn what it's supposed to do. For kids that are older or it's tighter, we might look at bracing to create that, because without the calf relearning, and getting that range back. So it's two parts. We need to retrain the calf muscle and we need to make sure that the full range is there. It's going to be really hard to resolve it and then add in the strengthening on that. So let me know if you have questions. That was a lot, but I'm always happy to answer more. All right. Thanks, guys.